Hey guys, welcome to our first podcast. Thank you for joining us. I'm Josh.
I'm Rick.
I'm Rich. That's going to get confusing.
Yeah, it is, but either way, you'll get used to it
We'll just
eventually.
be double dick.
Anyway, we got some exciting news to cover for you today. We're going to be talking about the new Super Smash Brothers, which comes out not even 2 weeks from now.
It's October 3rd, so yeah, it's like
For 3DS anyway.
Yeah, it's like 10 days. Kind of cover the new Deadpool movie, or that's what's announced, and then we're going to spend the rest of our time bitching about Destiny. I hope that's all right. There's a lot that we have to bitch about.
There's a lot to complain about, but there's still a lot to love.
Yep,
But
that's
we'll
for
get
sure.
there later.
So first up, Smash Bros. Rich, when you came over, I got a chance to play it on your 3DS. You got the demo.
Yeah, a buddy of mine gave me the codes for the demo because apparently Nintendo Platinum members got that. So
Oh,
yeah, I'm not a Nintendo Platinum member, but my buddy is.
what's a platinum member? What do you
The
think?
Platinum member, it's a paid subscription thing. It's kind of what Nintendo Power used to be, from what I've been able to tell. But it's kind of like Nintendo Club, but the next level of Nintendo.
I was gonna say,
Club.
like, I'm in Nintendo Club. I have a Wii U. I'm one of like 10 people in the world who do.
I do. High five.
There's 8 left.
Yeah, I
find it.
know.
I'm assuming this Platinum membership costs money.
I think it does. I'm not sure. My brother has it. I'll ask him later. But he has the demo, and I didn't get a chance to play it until I came over here today.
Yeah. But I really liked it. It feels good.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I was worried about is that since it's on a small, I mean, you got an XL, right?
I
So
do.
you
I
don't
have
to
an
worry
XL.
about it. But for me, I was worried that was going to be like too small of a screen for me to play extended periods. I had no problem with it. I played 5 rounds, and I didn't see it be an issue.
The only issue really is just like the button layout.
Yeah, the button layout.
Which you gotta get used to it.
You play 1 or 2 rounds and you're good pretty much.
So you can't just dive into it. You got to warm up first.
Especially for you, because like you were saying, you spent the majority of playing Brawl
Yeah.
with a Wii controller.
Yeah, I played with the nunchuck.
Oh god, that's terrible. That
Oh,
shit's
man.
gonna throw me off because when the Wii U version does eventually come out, they have the GameCube controller ports for the Wii U, and
Which
the
is
fucking
nice.
game comes with one. So
Yeah, it
I'm
does.
like,
Wait, it comes with...
you can get a copy of the game that comes with a
The-
Wii U GameCube controller.
Yeah.
Weird.
It comes with like the adapter thing for it too.
Okay,
Yeah.
I
cool.
was actually just looking at that. I didn't even see it. Apparently, that's what I pre-ordered.
That's what I pre-ordered too.
That's good,
It's like a
'cause I need
collector's, and you get a special
I mean,
controller.
I was excited.
too.
I have the Pro controllers. In fact, I originally bought the Pro controllers because I have a Wii U, but my Wii broke, and I wanted to. Obviously, I'm not going to go buy a fucking Wii, so I went and bought a Wii U instead.
Can
I
you
wanted to
even
play
buy a
Brawl.
Wii anymore? I haven't seen them
They
anywhere.
exist. They're like $20 a piece.
It's like...
PS2s cost more than that.
They got better graphics.
no, come on. I can't defend the Wii. I never had one.
I do have to say I agree with you though, because it does handle extremely well, and I was worried about the same thing with it being on a smaller screen, especially because after I got my XL, I was playing Fire Emblem on it, and I was like, oh, this is so much better. And then I tried to play on my little one when I was charging my XL for a while.
Oh, okay.
And I couldn't do it. I had to turn it off. I was like, my eyes are going to bleed. I've been spoiled. But no, it does handle extremely well. And
I mean, I was just thinking, I'm afraid. My worry was the smaller screen, but for like extended periods of time. But I think about I play Pokemon for like 5 hours at a time.
for months on end. Yeah.
Exactly. Like I don't put it down, and I don't have a problem with it then. So, I mean, obviously,
The only thing is,
Smash Bros is more intense than Pokemon.
it's a lot more
well, to a
active.
point. I mean, you see my online battles. Rich did. They get intense.
Those are, yeah.
For 2D creatures,
Yeah.
it gets intense.
The thing I was worried about most was, I don't want to say frame rate, but like, I thought it was going to be kind of pixely
Me too.
on the smaller screen.
I agree.
But it's really smooth. It runs really well.
And the way the outlines work,
I was just about to say
they
that.
did the
Yeah.
outlines.
I'm
it's
really glad they did that.
perfect.
What do you
for
mean
the
with
3DS.
the outlines?
If you look at your character color
Mhm.
will highlight your character.
Oh, okay.
So it makes it easier to tell where you are. So if you're
Okay.
player 1, you're, I think, green.
Yeah.
Player 2 is red. And player
Blue
3
and
is
so on,
blue
so-
and, or yellow and
But
blue.
they did that because, especially on the smaller screen, it's hard to keep track of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you see the comparison between the Wii U version to this, the Wii U doesn't have that black line.
It doesn't have it. You can turn it on. It
Okay.
is an option.
Mhm.
and on the Wii U, it's also an option whether you want it to be a thick black line outline to just detail the characters,
Right.
or if you want it to be a thin black line, or you want it to not exist, or you want it to be a colored line. You can change the options on the controller. I was reading that the other night.
What characters are what? Actually, one question I want to ask both of you, because there was one that really surprised me. Who out of the new roster surprised you, like you didn't expect was going to be in the game?
For me, probably the Duck Hunt dog, and it also just kind of bothers me that that's even a thing.
To be
'Cause
honest,
it's like people like we get that, we understand that that is a
Exactly.
person, but somebody who's like your brother's age
Yeah,
is gonna be like, who the fuck is
even
this?
Even my brother, we had a Super Nintendo, and he's played the damn thing before, but I don't think he even remembers stuff.
because I mean, really, the original Nintendo was like it was at
it
the
was
end of its
before
stride.
us.
It was before us. It was like at its final stride when we were able to comprehend what a video game was.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, the next consoles were out
Yeah.
when we were playing like Nintendo
Yeah,
and Super Nintendo.
My
so
grandparents had a Nintendo. I didn't.
We just
I had a
happened-
Super Nintendo.
they happened to have it, so we discovered video games.
Exactly. Like, I mean, that's where I played Duck Hunt. Was like my grandparents, like upstairs when I got sent over there to be babysat. Like that's how I played a regular Nintendo. I had a Super Nintendo at home.
Another character that confuses me is there's that like angel lady from
Palatina.
from Kid Icarus.
Yes,
She surprised me because I don't know, like realistically on par with the other characters, she's a god. So I don't know. Put it like Pikachu, use Thundershock, and she's gonna be like,
Palatina used to
Goodbye.
destroy the entire fucking
Well,
world.
on the subject of God, I was playing and I threw a fucking Pokeball and it fucking Arceus.
oh, good. Yeah, they were talking about how there's the Master Ball is a new item now.
Oh, really? I
Was
didn't
that-
even notice.
The Master
Maybe
Ball
that's what I thought.
is
It's
an
too small to
item,
notice.
I couldn't tell.
and the Master Ball has like a 50% increase to summon legendary.
That's really cool,
Pokemon.
actually.
I like that idea. It's
Yeah,
cool.
it's cool. I thought that was cool. The character that I wasn't expecting, and she was revealed really early, was the Wii Fit trainer. Because she's not even a game character. She's a fitness trainer. And not only that, but she's a digital one. But honestly, I think I might play as her.
Does she even have a voice?
She does have a voice. But
Okay.
because
I know that there's an alternate costume for the
there
male,
is a
too.
male one, and he wears yoga pants and spandex too, which is funny. But I might play as the Wii Fit trainer just to see, because she does kind of look like a badass. Supposedly, she's got some of the best dodges in the game.
I could imagine that.
Stretch.
Yeah, because she can, like, part of her moves are the yoga forms, which allow her to dodge, like, thrust attacks and
Yeah.
slash attacks and shit. I'm like, that doesn't seem fair. But she looks cool. The one character I saw that I was really surprised by was recently revealed, and that was Shulk.
I don't know who that is.
Shulk is from Xenoblade.
Okay.
It's not a game I ever played, but it doesn't look like a cool character.
It looks like a cool character, except my worry is that because Shulk can reverse time.
Was he an assist trophy in Brawl?
Yes, he was.
Was he the one that shot out the huge hand?
Yes.
Okay. I thought he looked familiar.
Okay.
He can reverse time, and I know they won't make that a thing. But if they make it a counter, he's going to be obscenely overpowered.
Probably.
Speaking
Speaking of overpowered, the fucking villager in that tree.
Yeah,
Oh my
the villager
God.
looks dumb.
That's the strongest smash attack. I've
When they
ever
released
seen.
that character, I was like, really?
The
The villager? I mean, I was kind of excited because it's like, that's really cool, but then I started thinking about the moveset, and I was like, I don't understand what you guys are going to go for.
It's like
here.
Sackboy in PlayStation All Stars. The character
Yeah.
you don't expect is the most obscenely powerful one.
I should get that because PlayStation All Stars is for free right now on PlayStation.
Was it really?
On PS3, yeah.
It is
For
free.
PS3. I don't have one of those.
Oh, I have the game. You guys can just come over and play at my place. Anyway, back to the podcast. Josh, which character were you not expecting?
Mine, I feel like I should have expected it, but I really didn't. And I'm really happy that they announced it. It was Pac-Man.
Yes!
I love the idea of
I
putting
knew
up,
it.
like, because especially since it's a 4-player game, I really want to just toss it all on the computer and do Mario versus Sonic versus Mega Man
and
versus
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man and see which mascot is the best.
So I just thought of something.
Of course, we all know It's Link.
Pac-Man's final smash is probably going to be
Dude, I
everyone
saw
gets. You actually saw
It's
it?
the coolest thing because it's.
Hold on, I'm gonna guess. I want to guess.
Okay,
I'm
go.
gonna guess. Does everybody get teleported onto an old style Pac-Man
No.
thing, and they have to run away from him while he's trying to eat them?
There is a map though that is styled off.
It's the Pac-Man map.
Yeah.
Oh,
It looks
weird.
Nuts.
Yeah, that is a stage. But he turns into like a giant Pac-Man, like the classic one.
Okay.
And you can actually control it. Like he goes like up and down. And you can like
Okay.
chase people around, like Sonic, but much more controlled.
Okay.
Which, speaking of which, I saw Sonic's Ultimate Attack, which is a character I play as. Where
Is
no
it
one else
another
does.
Super Saiyan Smash?
It is a Super Sonic Smash. It's the same as what it was before, but it's kind of like a mix between his and Pikachu's, where he still flies around really fast, but you have like boosts. It looked like where you can like press A or whatever and
Like
dash you
Volt
forward.
Tackle.
And I'm assuming that causes you could just slam into people with that.
Yeah, and I think they dialed down the damage because I mean I played as him. I know it's unfair. It's completely overpowered.
Yeah, he keeps his speed, but they turned his damage down.
Yes.
Which makes sense because like characters like Fox, fast as hell, but they turned down his damage for the later installments of the game.
That's why I played
Because
Falco instead.
he was too overpowered.
I really wish they would give Sonic just like one more smash attack though, because the only one he really has is when he like swings around his arm and like go and does
It
that
just
thing.
punches forward.
That's the only like smash attack I have, and it's really hard for
And
me
it's
to
got like
throw
no
it.
range.
It has no range.
Which character reveal did you guys enjoy the most?
Did we enjoy the most?
Yes, like out of the trailers.
I was probably Mega Man because I thought that looked fucking awesome.
The Mega Man one was cool, I have to say, and I thought the Charizard one was really
I
cool
was
too.
gonna say either Mega Man or Charizard.
Mine's probably not so much a character reveal. It's just the reskinning of Ike.
Yeah,
They just made him look like a.
they took Ike from Radiant Dawn instead of Path of Radiance, and I was like, he's a grown man now.
I know Ike was so fucking overpowered in Brawl, and I don't even care. It's just so much fun to
I'm
play
totally
as him.
gonna play as
I played
Ike.
as him like for one game, and
Yeah.
I just obliterated. I was like,
You and Sam.
He's so strong.
Because I never play as like a slower, more powerful character. I always play as like Toon Link or Pikachu or Sonic. So when I played as him, just like everything just dies when you touch it. And
So
that's
I don't
cool.
mind. I don't mind if they dumb down his damage. If it makes it a little bit more fair, and I get to play as him, I won't mind.
I loved the reveal for Lucina and Robin though, because and not just for Lucina and Robin.
Those are from Fire Emblem, right?
Yep, they're
Okay.
from both of them are from Fire Emblem Awakening.
That's the new one.
So yeah,
Okay.
they're
I didn't play that one.
they're the only Fire Emblem characters besides Ike who are in Smash Bros. That actually came to America in a Fire Emblem game.
Okay.
Marth didn't come to America until they remade the original game, which is Shadow Dragon on the DS.
Did Roy ever come to
Roy
America?
never came to America.
Okay.
The only way to play as Roy is to play, I believe, the third Fire Emblem game, which is
okay.
all
Roy
in
is-
Japanese, and it's on like the Game Boy Color.
Roy is from Melee, which
Oh,
I know
okay.
you know.
Yeah, I never
Josh.
played Melee because I didn't have a GameCube. I had a PS2 and
Yeah.
a regular Xbox, but I never had.
Roy was basically just Marth, except
My
a little more
favorite-
powerful.
Okay.
My favorite character reveal, though, was in that trailer, and it wasn't either of them, though. It was the fact that Captain Falcon shows up and just straight up punches a woman in the face. With no remorse either, because Lucina's like, I've got a sword. He's all like, Falcon punch! And she just knocks her the fuck out.
Going slightly off subject for just a moment. When we were back in high school, were you in video game club in MCC?
I was, but I didn't go that much.
Who was that guy who like did the mods? You know,
Oh,
remember?
right. I remember him.
But on the subject of Captain Falcon,
Jared. His name was Jared.
Jared, yeah, he reskinned Captain Falcon to be Blaziken.
Oh,
And I
my-
did his final smash, and seeing Blaziken driving that fucking car was the funniest thing.
He also reskinned Captain Falcon to be Goku, and he reskinned Wolf to be Vegeta.
Oh, God.
So me and Josh just had lots of fun with that. He also made his own character. He made Cloud from Final
Oh,
Fantasy
yeah,
VII.
I've seen those, too.
Yeah, that was cool.
That's
Some of the ones
cool
they did.
shit.
Like he did Shadow and all those. That's all subject after the podcast.
Turned Jigglypuff into Wheatley.
One more question. One more question for
Yeah.
Smash Bros. What top 2 characters are you guys gonna play as?
My top two are the ones that I played as in Brawl. I'm gonna be Sonic. I'm gonna be Toon Link. Toon Link is my one where like I need to settle a score. Like he is my go-to, which is sad because I still haven't even finished the game he's from. I'm working on it.
Oh, come on, dude.
I was
Like,
never
you're
a
so
Zelda
good.
guy. I didn't
Wind
have
Waker's a
like
lot
any of
of
the
fun.
games. So, and like I just said, I didn't have a GameCube, which is what that game was from. So I never got that chance. But I did buy the Zelda edition for my Wii U. I'm playing it. I'm working on it.
My top two is going to be Falco and Ike.
Yeah, I agree with you. I used to play Link the most, and I have to say, I am both happy and upset that they nerfed Link because
Oh, they
Link
nerfed
was so powerful. They turned down his damage a bit. They made spin attack smaller. They reduced
I
the
guess.
range on his bow, but they increased his speed a little bit.
Okay.
So they made him more of a balanced character, but they turned down his damage a lot because Link
Right.
used to be obscene. You could smash people out of the arena at like
Oh, yeah.
80% health
Oh, Jesus.
with a spin attack. You were just like,
Oh, wow.
And if you had 2 or 3 people like that, you just rack up the kills stupid fast. You're like, oh, Link.
Another character I know you play as, I don't know actually. Did Lucario get re-announced?
I was going to ask that. Did he?
Lucario was announced.
Okay. Because I know that's
There
another
was-
character you play as.
Yeah.
You and I would both play it, like you'd be him and I'd be Sonic, and like we can't figure out who's who.
I can't play as Lucario. I've tried so many times and I'm like, he's not Mewtwo. I don't wanna.
Greninja seems like he might be fun to play.
He does seem
Yeah, he
good
does.
too. And actually, speaking of Greninja, the 2 characters I'm gonna play as is I'm probably gonna play as Ike or Marth. I haven't decided which one yet, but the other one is gonna be Charizard for sure.
You know, I know
With
exactly
the
how you
Greninja
feel with
too.
what you just said, where you don't want to play as Lucario because he's not Mewtwo. But I'm in the same boat with Charizard because Squirtle's my favorite Pokemon, and now that he's not there anymore,
But
I'm like,
he's
no,
not-
fuck Charizard. He doesn't need to be here by himself.
Ah,
Then there's Ivysaur. Nobody played as
but
Ivysaur.
Well, honestly, those are my 3 favorite. Like, that was each my favorite generations. I thought Bulbasaur was too tiny, and then like Venusaur was too goddamn ugly. So Ivysaur was my favorite evolution. Charizard was cool, obviously the coolest.
Right.
And then Squirtle's my favorite Pokemon of all time.
Yep.
So having those 3, I love that. I wish they would have brought that
Imagine
back.
how confused you would be if Squirtle evolved into Ivysaur. And Ivysaur turned into a Charizard. You'd be like, what the fuck?
So is that
So, yeah.
for
I
For
think
Smash
we
Bros.
should stop wasting their time on Smash Brothers
Yeah.
now. Shall we move on to Deadpool?
Yeah, so the new Deadpool movie got announced, which I've been doing some research on and stuff. I'm really excited that Ryan Reynolds is still going to do it. 'Cause I
Okay.
know there were some people that are talking about like they think that it's not going to be him, especially since I don't know how much you know about Deadpool, Rich.
Not much.
Okay, you know obviously.
He references Ryan Reynolds in his comics a lot,
yeah,
doesn't
that's true.
Okay.
He's as big a fan of Ryan Reynolds as Ryan Reynolds is a fan of him.
he? Which is weird.
Which is funny as hell.
But I know what a lot of people's concerns were, which I know Rick, and obviously he knows plenty. He knows more about comics than I do. He's the only person I know that does. But
I love comic books.
I know you. I'm ready for it. Rick's the person when I don't know a question, I go to Rick.
Yep.
And if he doesn't know it, then no one does. But anyway, with Deadpool, what a lot of people are concerned about, because Ryan Reynolds, I mean, let's be honest, he's got like that pretty boy face, and obviously it's something at the market. Deadpool does not have a good-looking face.
Right. He almost doesn't even have one.
He doesn't
It's
have
just
skin on his face.
his
It's
mask.
mean.
His mask is just his face.
Pretty much.
That's
because-
To most people, like they
That's
see
the
that, it's just like,
I mean,
oh,
what's
that's
his whole thing? He has cancer, but his healing factor is like fighting against it. It's causing like
It causes some serious damage to his face. His face honestly looks like it was burned off.
yeah, exactly.
Like he doesn't have hair. That's why the mask doesn't. You obviously can't see any hair underneath his mask. It's because he's literally just the layer below the skin.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
like between the skin and the muscle. There's that second layer of skin. That's pretty much what he is.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
Deadpool is an ugly son of a bitch.
Yeah, he's terrifying looking.
Um,
But the thing is, so what people were concerned about is like you gotta when you obviously use an actor, you gotta market them.
Right.
Show like obviously this is Ryan Reynolds playing him.
Mhm.
So what people were concerned about was because of that. Then you know what you can't fuck up Ryan Reynolds' face. It's not gonna be Ryan
Yeah,
Reynolds.
it gets
well, see, I don't know because I worry about that, but I also think that Ryan Reynolds' voice is iconic enough.
It
I mean,
is.
he's not Morgan Freeman. He's
I-
not James Earl Jones.
I
But
think they might get away with it with like maybe a few flashbacks or something. But I don't want a Deadpool origin story. I just want a Deadpool movie.
I do too, but I think they could do some flashbacks
A
to.
couple flashbacks would be okay.
It'd be similar to the way they do the Joker origin in the comics, how they never actually show which origin is true,
You know,
but he makes jokes about different things, like getting beat up in high school or some shit like that.
You know, yeah, I understand. I think that would work really well. Do you watch Ultimate Spider-Man?
I have, yes.
Did you see the one with Deadpool in it?
Yes.
Well, first off, I think it's the worst adaptation of Deadpool I've ever seen.
I agree. It's terrible.
But I do like the way that they did it, where like he kept telling like an origin story, but it was a different one every time, and it was never the right one.
Yes.
So they can get away with it that way. I think would be all right.
Honestly,
Which, by the way, do you know who voiced him in that episode?
it was Ron.
It was Ron Stoppable.
It was
yeah.
Ron Stoppable. I can't remember. Yeah, it was funny. I personally like all the Nolan North Deadpools. I think Nolan North, when it comes to the animated Deadpools, is perfect.
My favorite animated Deadpool was the one from Hulk versus Wolverine.
I was just gonna say that. That is the best adaptation of Deadpool I have ever seen.
It was perfect.
Logan, I shot you in the ass with one of these. It was
when
beautiful.
he like chops off Deadpool's arm, it's just like, hey man, can you give me a hand?
Or he cuts his gun in slow mo. He fucking cuts his gun in slow mo. That was my favorite gun. Then he gets kicked in the face and knocked out.
He's like trying to put his arm back on. He's like, "Oh, that piece is upside down." Hold on.
Let's see. I also Deadpool he's a great character. But my thing is, if they're gonna do a Deadpool movie, the best thing they could do for that movie is not just have Deadpool.
It's not. They're going to try to bring in, like, he's owned by Fox because with that whole X-Men thing, they're going to bring in a lot of mutants. I know that.
They should, because, and honestly, if they did something similar to, like, Sex and Violence, if you guys have ever read that one,
No.
that one's awesome. It's Deadpool, it's Wolverine, it's Domino. It's a great comic, and it's hysterical.
On the subject of Wolverine, did you hear Hugh Jackman is pushing to try to get himself as Wolverine in the Avengers too?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Hugh Jackman and Andrew Garfield are both pushing their respective movie studios to work with Disney to get Spider-Man and Wolverine in the Avengers. They need to be in it. I don't think they'll be in Avengers 2.
Not in Avengers 2, because that's already pretty much done.
Yeah,
I want them in the third one.
In Avengers 3, I
At
agree.
least Spider-Man, because he's so fucking iconic.
But think about it. If they are actually going to do Civil War, which, by the way, that's another thing going around the internet. I'm not sure I believe it yet.
I don't believe it.
They're going for Thanos.
I know.
So if they're going for Thanos, they can't do Civil War.
No,
because Thanos has nothing to do with it.
However, if they do decide they want to kill off Captain America, they better do it in a Civil War.
It has to be Civil War. But in Civil War, Spider-Man and the X-Men are important characters.
Spider-Man is the most important character because he's the one that tells both sides of the story. Because he starts off on Tony's side.
Yes, he does, and
when he goes to Captain America, it's like Tony gets him to give up his identity because that was like the biggest thing. Like Spider-Man has worked harder than anyone else to keep his secret identity.
His secret, yeah.
And then he's just like, all right, well, I'm going to show everyone, and that's going to bring everyone else to be like, oh, Spider-Man can do it, then I obviously can. And he realizes like fucking 5 hours later when they villains trying to kill his Aunt May and fucking Mary Jane. He's like, this was a fucking terrible idea.
I'm like, yeah, let's make our secret identities public knowledge.
And
no,
then,
stupid.
And Tony overrides his Iron Spider suit to mess with his spider sense, so he thinks it's going off in other places, and he doesn't know how to use it anymore.
Yeah, it's throwing him off.
It's a really good story. I know anyone wants to read anything for Civil War, read Spider-Man's, because it was the best.
Yeah, Spider-Man's was good. The X-Men one was really good, too.
I didn't read the X-Men one. I read Iron Man's, I read Captain America's, I read the overall one, and I read Spider-Man's, but I didn't read X-Men.
Specifically for the X-Men, Wolverine's Civil War storylines are great because that also leads into when Cyclops decides to start putting back together X-Force as a Black Ops group. And so you start seeing characters like Wolverine, Deadpool as a mercenary, Archangel, and like Psylocke and stuff, how they start doing their Black Ops, the shit that no one else would approve of that they have to do to protect mutants. And it's a really good storyline, especially how they're just completely sided with Captain America. Because they're like, this is literally just an extension of the Mutant Registration Act.
It really is, yeah.
That's all it is.
The mutants are going to take that to heart.
Yeah, they're like, no, absolutely not. and they're actually a huge portion of Captain America's forces because of it.
It's partially on the subject of Wolverine, because we're supposed to be talking about Deadpool here.
I know, but we're getting on the topic of how these characters should be in the Deadpool movie.
Yeah, no, and another thing that I got a different opinion on a lot of films than most people do. Like, for starters, when I thought Spider-Man 2 was one of the greatest, Amazing Spider-Man 2 was one of the greatest movies of all time.
I completely agree with you.
And another movie that a lot of people hated, which, first off, X3, I hate X3. That movie sucked.
That movie doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. A lot of people hated X-Men Origins Wolverine. I actually liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it.
I enjoyed it, but they fucked with the X-Men, and
They fucked with the X-Men a lot, and a lot of people are upset of how they did Deadpool and that. I thought they did.
That wasn't Deadpool.
I mean, it was. You can't just. I mean, it's not a Deadpool movie.
It was Baraka.
It was an okay.
They're like,
cameo.
let's borrow Baraka from Mortal Kombat. So his mouth shut because he's ugly as balls, and give him laser eyes.
I'm not talking about I'm not talking about like the whatever they did with Weapon 11. That is not what I'm talking about.
I never saw Wolverine Origin.
Katanas come out of his arms. Like, they can't physically
I'm not
fit in
talking
his
about
arm.
that. I'm talking about when it was actually Ryan Reynolds, like, doing his Deadpool thing for like that secret mission. That I liked.
Yeah, that
what
was
they
great.
Did, they tried to make Deadpool like the next like Weapon X, which is what Wolverine was.
Okay.
Where they like tried to give him like a whole bunch of other extra powers, like they gave him like Cyclops' like.
They gave him a random grab bag of powers that Deadpool has never had.
No, never.
They gave him like Nightcrawler's teleporting powers.
The only thing that they gave him that he had was the healing factor.
Yeah,
that's all.
And his healing factor's not that good.
No,
like he can put his arm back on because his healing factor is that slow.
Yeah.
The thing is, he doesn't die.
Exactly.
And the reason he doesn't die has nothing to do with his fucking healing factor.
Yeah, it's not like Wolverine's healing factor where
because he's
like,
bone
you can
and
chop
fat.
off Wolverine's arm and he grows another one like a second later. There was a comic.
He has to put it back on. Yeah.
There was one where Spider-Man and Wolverine switch bodies.
Yeah.
And Wolverine, as Spider-Man's Wolverine's body, he accidentally cuts off a finger like immediately. He's like, "Oh fuck! Oh, it grew right back. Okay, that's good." And like when he gets back, and Wolverine's like, "Did you chop off a finger?" He's like, "It grew back." However, that always made me wonder. So obviously, he chopped off the adamantium part. So is that part of his finger now bone?
Apparently, I know.
His pinky is his weak point now.
Place you can get him.
That one, yeah, no, I agree. But when it comes to Deadpool, is if they add, even if it's just Domino, I totally agree that the movie can be awesome, but it can't just be comedy either. That's my other concern. Because Deadpool is, like we were talking earlier, he's not a pretty boy.
Yeah,
exactly. And his stories are extremely dark.
Who is this? Domino?
Deadpool.
Deadpool.
His stories can be like super dark. Like he fucking.
A comic I really want to read, which you might have it. Do you have Deadpool fights like or kills the
Marvel Universe? Yes, I have it.
Can I borrow it at some point? Because
Yes.
I can't find it.
Yeah, it's hard
really
to find.
To read it.
It's hard to find in a collected edition because there's not that many.
I haven't read a lot of Deadpool. I never was like really huge on him because of his grown popularity lately.
Yeah, I read him back when he was what he was.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't break the wall as much. He didn't make as many jokes, but he still made some really crass, really adult jokes. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, that's funny. Because he'll come up with something, and especially his terrible puns in the middle of like gunfights. I'm like, those are perfect. Or like his encounters with characters like Punisher and Ghost Rider. I'm like, that's great. Like, did you guys ever? I forgot which comic it was. I think it's part of Vicious Cycle, actually, the Ghost Rider series, where I'm not sure, but I think it's Vicious Cycle. I'll have to check. Where Ghost Rider confronts Deadpool and picks him up, and he goes to use the penance stare. And he goes, "Your soul is stained by the blood of the innocent. Feel their pain." And Deadpool goes, "Oh, so it's like a highlight reel. Well, then roll the tapes." And I'm like,
that's pretty badass.
I'm like, all right, that's perfect.
Oh, that's Deadpool.
And it's like when he's working with Punisher, he pisses Punisher off, and Punisher just shoots him in the head like 3 times and then keeps going. He's like, "You know that's not going to kill me, right?" He's like, "I know, but it makes me feel better."
So basically, the verdict for the Deadpool movie is they need other.
They need
other Marvel characters
because
to
that's
show
what, that I think is what makes Deadpool.
They
the
need
best.
lots of cameos.
Yes, cameos. Like if they had Thomas Jane in there for like 5 seconds as Punisher, just in the background, it'd be like perfect.
Best movie.
I want to see Andrew Garfield in there for like just 10
swing,
seconds.
just if he swings past, and there.
I want to see him like take Spider-Man's web shooters or some shit because he's done that before.
Well, that's
What
the
was
thing.
it when he kills he goes to kill Scorpion? And he like does it in Spider-Man's costume.
Mhm.
He like takes the mask and he like puts it on. And he like kisses Spider-Man on the forehead. He's like, "Don't worry, I'll
He's
take
like,
the mask
"Don't worry,
off when I
sweet
kill him,
prince."
so they know it wasn't you."
Like, don't worry.
He just like goes off on his web shooters and Spider-Man's tied to him.
And he hits a building
Yeah.
twice. Just slams into the side of a building. He's like, this is really hard. Like, oh god. So, but I think it can be a phenomenal movie, but they have to push the envelope of a rated R film.
I was talking to Sam the other day.
That's gonna be tough to do.
Yeah,
I know.
it's got to be rated R, and I've only seen Deadpool in 2 ways. One, either dead on perfect, or fucking terrible.
Yeah.
So
That's the
there's
problem.
no in between for
Well,
Deadpool.
exactly. There's no category of 1 to 10 with Deadpool.
Mhm.
It's not like Superman where there's like 50 different iterations.
Yeah,
Deadpool is the same character across every Marvel
always,
universe.
Exactly.
He doesn't change. His character doesn't vary. His origin may be different, and sometimes he has it. But he's literally the same character, and he's completely aware of all other versions of him in the universe.
Yeah.
That's why they're all the same.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no room
Another
for...
thing I heard was that he might actually make fun of the way that they portrayed him in the X-Men
He
Origins
does.
movie.
He makes fun of that movie all the time.
I mean, like in his Deadpool movie, he's probably gonna mention it and like
I
make
hope.
fun of it.
I hope so.
Like,
That
there's
would
gonna be a
be
scene. It's
beautiful.
like, hey, look, at least I'm not this shit. And like pans over to
Like, has it on the TV. He's like, this movie sucks. I would totally agree with that. But, you know, same thing. It could be amazing or it could just be god awful.
That's true.
We'll see.
Yeah,
What
we'll
is-
see.
what is
That's
it?
how
I
it
got
always
high
goes.
hopes for it. I always have high hopes for any
In
film.
addition to the Deadpool movie officially being confirmed and them getting ready to start production, the fact that they've also started production on Doctor Strange in London.
I'm really excited about that.
I am as well. Marvel's picking up their game, but in all honesty, I hope they start changing up what they're doing because I've been watching some of the DC animated movies
Uh-huh.
and they're better than the Marvel cinematic movies.
They are. However, have you seen Doctor Strange's animated
I have seen that. It's pretty
movie?
good.
If no one's seen it, go watch the Doctor Strange animated movie. I think it's even on Netflix right now.
It is on Netflix.
If you
It's
don't know
free.
anything about Doctor Strange, it's a good way to learn about him. I love that story. I love the way that it was done. It's just really nice. It's a really good way to get background on Doctor Strange.
Yep. It's also just a solid movie in its
It
own.
is. It's
If you get a chance, if you like superheroes, watch the DC and Marvel animated movies. Planet Hulk, the Wolverine versus Hulk, Thor versus Hulk. Those movies are extremely solid, and you don't even have to read comics, and you'll get massive background into their universe.
I'm sorry, Thor versus Hulk.
Yeah, the Hulk
That
versus
movie's
movie.
phenomenal.
That movie's great.
I
If
love
you
when he
haven't
like
seen-
finds Hulk like an ass.
You're coming over to my place eventually, and we're just gonna binge on superhero movies.
I'm game.
Josh, you're coming too.
I don't have to be anywhere.
You guys aren't invited, but that's because I don't know you yet.
Also, there's a cat.
There's a cat.
Kitty cat. So yeah. So those are great. Well, do we move on to the final part of our podcast?
Let's
So-
move on to Destiny. We're gonna take a short break though. We'll be back in a minute. So, I mean, it's not gonna be a minute for you guys. It's gonna be now. But yeah,
You'll
we'll get
play
to
a
Destiny.
tune or something.
It'll be immediately.
It'll be immediately for you. You won't notice the difference. All right, so Destiny.
Story's ass.
This game is ass, but this game is also wonderful.
There's good and there's bad. Unfortunately, there's just a lot of each.
There's so much that's so good and so much that's so bad.
There's so much of each that you can look past each side.
I know.
So
It's there's so much.
But
that there's-
obviously the good is winning because we keep playing.
no, the good is not winning. The good is equal to the bad. The thing that's winning is our addictive personalities and the fact that we're playing a first-person shooter MMO. That is what's keeping us playing.
I've been going I like had a moment with myself and I sat down and I tried to think, am I playing this game because I'm enjoying it? Or am I playing this game because I bought it?
That's what happened when we bought Halo 4.
Oh God!
So we'll know in like 2 weeks.
Don't even get me started on Halo 4.
We're not here for Halo 4.
We're going back to Destiny right now.
Yeah. Because I mean, I was just thinking, like, the way that we have to play, like, to get all of our stuff and everything. I mean, at this point, it feels like work, and that's not good.
But see, here's the problem. It is an MMO. Despite the fact that it's a very compartmentalized MMO, like each world can only have like 20 people at a time, and that's in each game thing. And normally you only see that many people when you're at the tower.
Or if a public event happens
or
to show
like
up because everybody just floods to that.
Land.
Then you realize, oh shit, there's a lot of people here.
Yeah, but like normally, if you're looking at like the player list and you're on, say, Earth, if you're just running around doing patrols, normally you'll only see like 6 or 7 people, including you and your fire team if you have one.
Yeah.
So it's not that many people, but the problem is it's an MMO at heart. So it comes with the inherent problem that every MMO ever has always had. Grinding.
Yep.
Yes.
And you have to
hell,
do it.
But those patrol
before
missions.
we dive into this, I just want to say, I want on record that I do like this game. I don't hate this game, and I do have fun playing it.
I completely enjoy. I enjoy every minute, except what I'm going to get onto later.
So I say, let's go over the good first, and then we can bitch until we run out of time.
Okay. Yes. You know what? Let's do that.
All right. The good.
The
Aiming down the sights and pulling the trigger. It's fun.
Okay.
I enjoy doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I see an enemy. I point my gun at him. He dies. His head explodes. I go up. I punch him in the face. It's great. I have a good time doing it.
That gameplay is so solid, so smooth, especially when you're running at full 60 frames per second.
That's what I was going to say. The way that the game handles is beautiful.
I
love the way that it feels. Like with the sliding and everything, it feels great. It's one of the best, like, controlled games I've ever played.
Yeah, the gameplay, the controls are solid. They're responsive. I've never played a shooter that's as responsive. Even like the more, and I'm doing quotes with my hands, guys. The more sophisticated shooters, like Call of Duty and Battlefield, I'm not gonna bitch about those right now. I could go for hours on that, but they're not as responsive. It feels laggy. It feels like, even when you're just running on the ground, it feels like you're hitting something. You're slow.
Yeah.
And when you're playing Destiny, and I don't know if it's different playing as a hunter, because Rich and I are both playing as Titans right now. When we're running, we're just trucking through shit.
It's great.
You do not feel like stuff in the scenery gets in your way. You don't feel like the game is lagging, even remotely.
You feel in control.
Yes, that's the thing, and that's what's important.
And I can say, as playing a hunter, it just feels really natural. Like, I pick up the controls, and I'm completely immersed in the fact that I'm there.
And that's the other thing is how natural the controls flow.
They do flow very, very, very nice.
Even like the awkward movement controls, and I'd say awkward because it's not natural for a human being to be able to jump like 30 feet in the air.
Yeah.
But
speaking of that, like to your point of like feeling like you're not getting stuck, I feel like the height traversal stuff like that it helps.
It extremely helps with not worrying about getting stuck, because like even when you hit stairs, you don't feel like it's holding you back at all, but you don't feel like you're having any trouble, especially if you're, like I said, we're both Titans, and I don't have any other classes right now. You engage the damn jetpack and just up the stairs, and it's super fast, super smooth. The gameplay's solid. And the set pieces are gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Yes, the game looks.
That was my next thing.
Even when Rich had the alpha and I played that, I remember like just sitting and like.
Oh yeah.
Like this game looks beautiful. Like,
oh yeah.
Means of the definition.
Every zone, even like the underground zone on the moon for the hive, like the Hellmouth and everything, even that's extremely well rendered and well done. You can tell where they put individual pieces of scenery.
Your fucking footprints show up on the moon.
Yeah,
that was incredible.
that was awesome.
I remember it's like I stopped you. I was like, hold on, are those your footprints? Or are they just part of the get? No, they're yours. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, did you guys? I don't know if you did it, but when I stopped, I played Black Garden again a couple days ago, and I actually stopped to look out over.
Yeah, it looks pretty.
It's gorgeous. It's like, and especially when you look down and you see the actual black garden, like all the black flowers and everything. I was like, wow, this level is solid.
Yeah, the game does atmosphere really well in some places.
It does. And the one of the other things, not just part of the atmosphere, is the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's pretty good in a lot of areas.
The soundtrack is solid almost
some of those boss
everywhere.
battles, you feel like you're in a boss battle.
On the subject of sound, like the way that just even all your guns and all the weapons,
And
that sounds good. Like the guns, they sound powerful, they sound good.
Yeah, I feel like I'm firing.
Especially when you're firing.
You guys don't have a knife, but I have a knife, and like when I do that knife animation, like when I attack with my melee, it sounds good. Like, it sounds powerful. Like I'm doing damage.
Even from my screen, I can hear when you do that.
It's
when you hear it. I love. Do you have your sound going through your headset when you're playing? Like your TV sound going through your headset when you're playing?
No, it's just the TV.
Switch
You just got
over
that
your
dumb
sound
earbud,
to your
right?
headset.
I don't have a good headset. I just have the default little
you just have
earbud
that
that comes with
Well,
the
we got to get you one of those because that's what I got. But just hearing the punch if you're playing as a Titan when you just level, you just
like
lay
when
one
you
on
guys do your
somebody.
shoulder charge thing. I can hear it, and it sounds.
Oh yeah, it sounds like thunder.
It
off
sounds
in
like
the
you gave
distance.
someone a concussion.
Like, I don't know if it's just me, but like anytime I go to punch in that game, I actually like grit my teeth, like
Yes.
No, I do it too.
Beat that motherfucker.
It's the sound. One of the other things about the sound that I noticed is if you guys haven't noticed it yet, go to like different planets and fire your guns.
Is there like
can tell.
Yeah.
Is there like different echo?
There's different echoes for each planet, and there's different echoes for if you're in a building, if you're underground.
Okay.
Like when you're in the hive zone, it sounds different inside the hive zone than it does if you're standing outside of it. And the moon in particular has such a muffled, like the guns are muffled so much more than anywhere else because you're in an open vacuum.
Exactly.
And it's
No
like,
atmosphere.
it's like, oh, this is sweet. Yeah, there's the game, like when it comes to visuals and sound and gameplay, it's solid. I mean, even when you're creating your character, the character models are gorgeous.
Oh yeah. It's unfortunate that the only time you really get to see their faces is when you're on the tower.
Crappy
Well, at least they
cinematic.
let you see them, which is nice. Honestly, I don't feel like it was really necessary. I think they could have just gone completely Master Chief and just left their helmets on and no one ever.
Yeah, I don't think they
Maybe.
needed to give us like race choices, but I mean, because it doesn't change anything.
Other than like your emotes.
Yeah, it changes your emotes. That's it, and your voice. That's all it changes.
Which when do you hear your fucking voice?
Occasionally during a cinematic. That's about it.
Yeah, typically you're just listening to your ghost.
Speaking of voices, extremely well voice acted.
Yeah, it is
That
pretty nice
one thing
for how little there is.
You can tell that the production values just on the visuals, the soundtrack, and the voices are extremely high. Peter Dinklage does amazing as the ghost. Bill Nye, not Bill Nye the Science Guy.
I was just saying, it's like, hold on, what?
Bill Nye, have you guys seen Underworld?
Yeah.
He's Lord Victor.
Okay.
He is the speaker.
All right.
Oh,
And if you listen to the way they talk, it's extremely well voice acted. Even like base characters like Banshee, the damn gunsmith on the tower. You never do anything with him. And
Cade Six, the hunter dude, Nathan Fillion.
Yeah.
He does really well,
Yeah, they're awesome. They're extremely well done. And then one of the things, it's so much fun. The just being able to choose between PvE and PvP is also extremely well. But there are problems with that, which we'll get into.
We'll get into those later.
We'll get into those later.
Another thing I like is the boss battles. I like that they're difficult, but I mean, Rich knows more than anything. I love fighting something that's like 20 times my size.
Yes, the boss battles are so well done. The one thing that I wished was that all the dungeons had more bosses. Like, Devil's Lair, I think, is one of the ones that it's done extremely well because there's 3 different boss encounters. I mean, the first one is more like just a horde encounter, and then you get a really tough captain at the end.
Yeah,
but he's still a boss.
that's true. I
And
never
then
really thought of that.
You get the individual Noble Walker tank, and then you get Sepkus Prime at the end, which that feels like an MMO dungeon. That feels like a World of Warcraft dungeon, like an EverQuest dungeon. Because you got to go through these big badasses before you get to the biggest badass.
Another thing I like is that, I mean, there's 2 different health bars that you're going to notice is either, whether they're like a boss kind of a character or just a regular character.
The
And when there's that
health
yellow
bars.
ones, I love that they have them, and I love that they do show up so much because it keeps you on your toes because they, they're small bosses, but they're enough to make it. I mean, you're not just farming through enemies at that point. It's like that comes in. It's like, oh shit, we got to focus.
Especially when you like last night when we did that level 24 run or the level 22, the weekly through summoning pits, the dungeon on the moon, and we got to that one part where you're not even at the boss yet. You're like just in the entrance. Every enemy had a yellow health bar. There were hollowed enemies everywhere.
Yeah.
And they take forever to break down. You're like, Jesus,
They're
die!
tough. Another thing that I like, because I mean, there's plenty of games I've played, especially in MMOs, when you're attacking enemies like bosses, and it's like I'm not getting anywhere with this. But even when we're fighting, like what is it in the summoning pits, you fight that big dude that's all chained up. Yeah. When you're fighting him, I mean,
Untamed.
he's gigantic. He has a lot of health, but even when you're just shooting with your basic weapon, you feel like you're doing damage.
Yes, that is,
and that's really important.
That's why I was really happy that they put the numbers in. You can turn them off if you want, but if they didn't have the damage numbers,
You can turn those off?
you can turn them
Oh,
off.
okay.
It's in settings.
I'm not gonna. But
No,
it's
you
nice to
you
know that
can turn them off if you want to. If you want more of like an authentic, like I guess Call of Duty feel. I don't know why the hell you would want to do that, but I mean, like you feel like you're doing damage, especially when you're just unloading with an auto rifle and you're not hitting a weak point and you're doing like 60, 70 damage with each shot, and then you pull out a sniper rifle and you land a critical hit and you do 2,500 damage.
Yeah,
you're like,
oh,
yeah, boom, baby. And it feels responsible, especially with the way the recoil of the guns and the sound works. When you're fighting a big boss and there's lots of enemies spawning, lots of ads, it feels like an intense fight, like you're fighting for your life.
Exactly.
It's chaotic, but it's a good chaotic.
And one of the things I really did like was the no respawn zones.
Yes.
They're a pain in the ass, but that's what they're for.
That's what makes the game challenging.
And that is what makes it difficult. Because if you could just respawn at any time, it doesn't.
Yeah, like in Halo, it's like, okay, your guy's in a safe location. There we go. Okay.
Oops,
Because you got that one corner you can always run to, so it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I thought it was weird originally when we noticed that like enemies still shot at our ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized now that's kind of important because it's like, okay, I'm down, and then they fucking leave. It's like, okay, cool, it can pick me up. But they're still there shooting at me like, no, don't come yet. Wait till they stop.
Yeah, wait until they stop shooting my corpse.
Especially in the spots where you cannot respawn yourself.
Exactly.
Like when you. A little tip, guys: if you have an offensive super, so if you're anything except a Sunsinger Warlock or a Defender Titan, don't ever use your super on a boss because it doesn't do shit.
It never
Save your
will.
supers for the enemies because it's like,
That's something I
Especially-
learned now, like really, especially as a hunter,
oh god,
because it's like I pull out my golden gun, and that thing, unless if you're gonna kill someone with it, it's not gonna do really anything.
especially at higher levels. Like we took down the Noble Walker in Devil's Lair, the tank, and when it goes down and its weak point's on top, I did Fist of Havoc directly onto the weak point with death from above. It didn't even do critical damage, and it was just like 300 damage. I'm like, I could have done more than that with my fucking machine gun.
So that's definitely something you want to keep your supers for crowd control.
Save them for crowd control. And if you have anyone that you're playing with that plays MMOs, they're king in this game. Because if they have MMO tactics, you will succeed. As long as you're good at shooting and you can play the game, you guys will succeed. But you got to think of it like an MMO. You can't run and gun. especially when it comes to dungeons and raids.
I think that's actually why we all do pretty well, because three of us, we do all have MMO experience. You guys have significantly more than I do, but I still have some.
You do have quite a bit because of Old Republic.
Old Republic, I played DC Universe. I never played WoW, but that's pretty much something.
So if people either did or they didn't play WoW.
I didn't have a computer that could handle it at the time, so I never got the chance. I would have played it. I know I would have gotten way too into it and probably still be playing it right now, and you wouldn't be talking to me.
I would talk to you because I play occasionally, but yeah. So I mean, dungeons are by far the best part of the game, and I think even though like we were just talking about summoning pits is a pain in the ass, but I still have a huge amount of fun every time we go into this.
Exactly.
It's just unfortunate that your favorite part of the game is right at the end.
Is that
it's
exactly.
the end game experience.
The best part of the game is by far the end.
Because going through that story is just not.
The story is. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
That'll be like a good 20 minutes. But no, and the game, it does have a lot going for it. I mean, the production values are phenomenal. The gameplay is amazing. It's one of by far the best handling games that I've ever played.
Another nice thing is like each class is actually kind of different.
Yeah, that is.
And not just like their move set, but their actual like.
Each class functions differently, and they can be played generally the same way. But the only reason they can do that is because each class gets a movement ability, each class gets a grenade ability.
Right, but those movement abilities are actually kind of different.
They are different.
You and me, we play as a Titan, so our thing is we get like a little jetpack.
We get our jetpack.
When I started playing as my Warlock, I would try to do that, but
you can't because you got to float.
Yeah, it's not an initial boost, it's just a glide.
Yeah.
So when I try to make gaps that I could usually make, I can't make it.
You can't make it. And then, as a Titan, we can't keep up with the agility of hunters. Like, especially in PvP, where he can triple jump.
That's only my gunslinger.
How the hell do you do that? Double jump
That's why
wasn't bad enough.
Twice. I feel mine up more. You guys are just doing it wrong. But yeah, the triple jump, honestly, it's not as great as it sounds because I have another ability where I can make my second jump like twice as high.
Yeah, and then,
that's what I have as my Blade Dancer, and that seems to have almost a better.
Well,
effect.
I think we're both still using the first upgrade for the jetpack.
The higher lift.
The higher lift, just because
Did you guys max out either of your?
We're both maxed out strikers.
Yeah.
Okay, I just maxed out my Blade Dancer today. And I almost got my Gunslinger done. I got like 2 left.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm at the beginning of Defender right now. I'm doing that on the side when I'm not doing endgame stuff with you guys.
It's nice that the each class has like 2 subclasses that you can.
Yes,
like, especially for the raids and the dungeons.
It's really nice, especially the utility of. I'm not playing one, but the utility of the Warlock Sunsinger. If you go into a raid,
that's insane.
If you go into a raid or high level dungeons, do your best to bring a Warlock Sunsinger with.
Because their buffs are just
buffs are stupid, and that super ability Radiance is dumb. Did you know that you can trigger Radiance while you're dead?
No.
Oh, really?
You can trigger it as
what does
a Warlock.
it
It
do?
resurrects nearby allies instantly, and it buffs them.
I haven't much experience with Warlocks, because like Ryan and Andy play as Warlock, but typically it's the 3 of us that play, so it's 2 Titans and a Hunter.
Yeah, 2 Titans and a Hunter. So we generally, if we have support, it's me or Rich popping a bubble shield.
Yeah.
That's about it.
That's about it. We don't have
I'm full on offensive in either class with no defensive abilities.
And generally, we're playing as offensive too. We're just doing everything we can. The way the elements work is actually pretty solid. It's pretty simple.
Oh, you're talking about the elemental damage?
Yeah, the elemental damage.
It's no Borderlands, but it's still there.
It's not Borderlands. It's not as big of a part as Borderlands because elemental damage only affects shields.
Yes.
That is what it affects. I mean, it's still, like, when you deal damage to someone, whether you're going to do 200 damage with a regular shotgun or 200 damage with a void shotgun, you're still only going to do 200 damage.
Exactly.
But it'll be a different damage type.
Exactly.
Whereas if you're going to shoot someone with, like, say, the enemies, because players do not have elemental shields. We cannot access them.
Yeah.
But say you're going to shoot, like, a Hive Warlock. They have solar shields. That's why they have that red glow around them. their
the
shield.
hive stuff.
Yeah,
You mean the wizards?
Yeah, wizards. That's what I'm talking about. Their shield is a solar shield, so you use a solar weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So where a plain sniper rifle would do, I don't know, 400 damage, and then you've got
A solar sniper.
a solar sniper that does 800.
Yeah.
Whereas a void or a shock one are still only going to do 400 damage.
Or maybe even less.
Or I think they do a little bit less if you have the wrong element.
Right.
But it doesn't make it to the point where it's useless to just go, all right, well, then I guess screw it. I'm just going to keep kinetic weapons only because
Well, that's your primary.
they don't. Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay. But
my last pro that I have to touch on is what I really like about the game that makes the game like 10 times more fun on its own is the super abilities.
yeah,
Oh, for
they're awesome.
Because the way I see it, it kind of makes me feel like I'm playing like an older game, like where like you go to the arcade and it's like, oh, I got the superpower.
Yeah,
or
you
whatever.
charged
It's
up
like,
your
yeah.
super move and you're gonna stomp some ass.
Yeah, and that's what makes it like. That's what makes it feel like a game, and that's what's great.
And they
'Cause a lot of games
feel
don't have anything
powerful.
like
Yeah,
that
they do.
anymore.
They when you
They
use your
do.
super move, you feel like you're kicking some serious ass.
Obviously not against a boss, but like when
Well-
I go into my Blade Dancer, which is where I charge my fucking knife with lightning and I just go berserk.
Yeah,
for
you
like
go
half a
nuts and
minute.
just stab the shit out of some people.
It like I feel super powerful. I feel like I'm really contributing. Like I'm doing something. Yeah, let's get in there.
Yeah, kick some ass, and it's easier to do with like the Blade Dancer. I don't know that much about Gunslinger because I haven't.
Gunslinger, I have a lot of issues with the Golden Gun, where like the range isn't that good, and, like the accuracy isn't that good. And then I noticed like in
It's
the
stupid
abilities,
powerful, but
it's stupid powerful if you hit him. Which at that point, with how close you have to get, you might as well just be a Blade Dancer.
Yeah, I guess.
Because like I looked at like the abilities, because obviously I've been playing as it, and the way that you can upgrade, because you only choose like one upgrade for like one thing for like the line of the tree.
Right.
And it's like, okay, you have better accuracy. All right, you want more power? Yeah, okay. Oh well, you don't get the accuracy anymore. What? You want the gun to shoot farther? Yeah, you don't get the accuracy still. Then why would I want to shoot farther? So
Yeah.
it's like you can pick one. This all sucks. I'm just gonna go be a Blade Dancer and use my knife because it doesn't suck.
Titans don't have that issue. All of our things stomp the ground. They're all amazing.
All of our things generally explode.
It'll either make it explode longer, it'll explode farther, or we can come fucking raining down.
Either
Yeah.
something explodes or we hit the enemy with our bodies, and it's and some part of our body causes massive damage to them. So, but
And it's nice because anybody can really, I don't want to say anybody, but people can pick up a controller, look at all the classes, and be like, I want to do that.
you can generally pick one easily,
And you can have
you'll be
the time
more
of your life.
drawn to one or another, and the class honestly doesn't matter as much as you think. It comes down to just more preference.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
play style.
Like
obviously Titans apply to you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Titans
I'm
apply to us,
definitely
but
a
I
hunter.
play Paladin, I play Warrior, I play the heavily armored character with the big weapon.
I know.
And I
That's exactly what I
do. Exactly.
Josh always wants to have a hood and a cape, and fucking, here's a hunter. That's exactly what I want.
Ta-da! No, I
I'm
don't play.
always like melee damage. I'm either really up in their face quietly, or I'm really far in the back. I mean, if this game gave me a bow and arrow, it'd be the best game in the world.
I would
A
love
sniper
to
rifle
see a
doesn't just
space
do it for me. I
crossbow.
mean, it's all right, but it's not the
Space
same.
crossbow.
It's my space ballista.
What's that? What's that? I never remember the title of the game. What's that game that Sam's super excited about?
I don't know.
It's by the people like me, Borderlands or whatever.
Oh, Battleborn.
Battleborn, yeah. Because that game has all the things in each character that I want. Because I saw that first character, it's like, oh, this guy has a bow. I want that.
I want
And
to.
then
I
I see
want
that
the.
other one
I
that
want
goes
the-
turns invisible. It's like, oh, I want to be that guy.
Montana.
Montana with his
This big
fucking
dude, this
pea-sized
huge
head.
beard, this tiny head, this fucking girl like going.
It's the only guy I'm not excited to meet, but I see like the first one with the bow and arrow. I see the first one with bow and arrow, like, oh, I love that character. And then I see the one that turned invisible. I was like, well, that's what I would want to be. And then this other guy comes in with 2 fucking lightsabers. Like, you can't do this to me.
I don't know who to be.
I want to be all those guys, except for the one that you guys want to be, obviously.
I would probably gonna pick that faction because the other hero for that
Oscar
is-
Mike.
Oscar Mike, yeah. I was like, yeah, he looks like a badass. But that's another game we should cover at a different time.
Yeah,
When it actually comes
absolutely.
out.
I just wanted to mention it because it was there.
It does look
My
cool.
last pro that I want to touch on is like an obvious thing for any game that has a loot system It just feels good when you get loot that you can actually use.
Especially when you get something that's like,
a legendary.
oh, well,
or
my
an
green
exotic.
boots suck. And
However,
holy shit,
there's a counter
legendary
to that,
boots.
which we'll get to that in a second.
That's why I'm bringing it up now,
Yeah.
because I know we're about to get into
When
it.
you get something you want, it feels fantastic.
When you get something you want.
You know, the fifth thing that you find.
When you get the thing you need, that feeling is over exhilarating. But there's
It's just
a
like,
reason
oh, I can't
why,
wait to use it.
which we're going to touch on in a second. Rick, do you have any other?
Any more pros?
I do want to say that, especially for PvE, for just competitive multiplayer, everything else, the classes are very well set up.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I don't like is that the hunter doesn't have a support class.
That I do not like either.
Hopefully, when they add the third subclasses, the hunter will get a support class. We don't know what it'll be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping
It'll be void, right?
It'll be void damage for the hunter because they already
That
have
is something
solar
that
and
I
arc.
struggle with. Rich knows better than anyone that I typically am a support character, typically to him.
Yeah.
I know how it is.
You're usually.
I'm usually Rich's pocket medic.
I personally am very unused to being a support character because every MMO I've ever played, I've always been the tank.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been the dude on the front line. So it's like, here's my sword and board, and I'm going to go kick this
Sword and
dragon
board.
right in the balls.
I'm the only person you'll ever meet that actually enjoys being a healer.
Alex, he plays healer all the time.
Really?
He's either healer or GPS.
Because I actually enjoy it. Like in the MMOs, especially like we play SWTOR, I play as a healer and I heal Rich and I watch him go be badass. And I enjoy that actually. It's just like making
And it's
sure
not
I
like
heal.
I'm taking all the glory.
It's
from
like
you.
we
No,
were
it's
talking
not.
last night.
Like when we play TF2, like you and I, if
Oh
one of
my
us is at
God.
the top of the board, we're both at the top of the board.
Our heavy meta combo can't be stopped.
We're
Heavy
unstoppable.
medic is unstoppable. It's good stuff, but the classes are extremely well balanced and extremely well put together
For PvE.
for PvE.
PvE, yes.
That's the
Okay.
thing. But you have your two support classes. You have the Defender Titan. The Defender Titan especially is extremely powerful when you can pop Bubble Shield. Like if two guys are down and they're right next to each other, and you pop your damn Bubble Shield,
They're both getting back up.
they're both getting back up because the only way the enemies can hurt you is to walk into the bubble shield.
Mm-hmm.
And generally, they're just going to sit there and take pot shots at it.
Yeah.
The only problem with the bubble shield is that you can't shoot through it either.
Yeah.
Right, and it also takes away your damage dealing super, which can
It
be
does.
boring.
It does take away Fist of Havoc, which, unless you're playing as a support type, like you're a support type person,
It'll be boring.
It's more boring because you can't just jump in and punch the ground with your Donkey Kong fist.
Yeah.
Level the shit out of everything. Which level the shit out of everything in a small zone. Which is the other problem with the Warlock super. The Voidwalker super. The
Nova Bomb.
Yeah, Nova Bomb. That one.
The Gallic gun.
Yes. The Gallic gun grenade thingy that they throw. It's powerful. Extremely powerful. Just like Fist of Havoc. But it's a zone.
Uh-huh.
And it's easy to miss.
And it
I played as a
is
Warlock for a
easy to
little bit,
miss.
and whenever I miss with that, it's just like, fuck, I don't even want to do this anymore.
It takes practice. It takes Warlock players to effectively play a Warlock. Just like it takes Titan players to effectively use the super
Yeah,
of the Titan.
I can contribute to that because playing as a Titan and then switching over to a Warlock, I can't run in and just melee everything.
Yeah,
I'll get
you
my
can't-
ass handed to me.
Well,
It's completely
and like
different
Warlocks, they don't get the melee abilities that Titans get.
Or their armor.
Or yeah, exactly. And that is one thing I will say. The stats do make a difference, like armor, recovery, and agility. They do make a difference, but they don't make as much of a difference as like they would in a typical MMO, like in Warcraft.
Mhm.
They do make a rather large difference in the Iron Banner.
Right, that's the PvP where gear actually matters.
That is the only form of PvP where gear actually matters, which is actually cool that they have two different sets of PvP.
Right.
The only thing that I don't like is that the Iron Banner isn't around all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It'd
It'd be nice to have that option to just go in.
to be able
whenever.
to go do it instead of just going, well, my friends are good at Halo and these friends are good at Call of Duty and I suck at shooting games because I play fighting games all the time. I'm gonna go get raped. Here I come, Uncle Diddles. But it's yeah, I got perverted. That was not my intent, folks. Please don't be offended.
Oh yes, it was.
But it is well set up and it's well balanced for PvE.
Yes.
The only thing that I wish we could have done before we did this podcast is play the raid that they came out with.
Yeah, we didn't get that.
Yeah,
chance. We should get to tonight.
We actually should be able to start it tonight. I feel like we're gonna get stomped on pretty bad.
But it'll be fun.
But it'll be fun. We're gonna go with some friends and we're gonna walk into Vault of Glass. And we'll probably get blown up a lot, but we'll see what we can do. I
don't have to wake up tomorrow.
I don't have work tomorrow either, and Taylor's got work tonight. So if I don't get on right away, I will be on later.
Okay.
And I will be playing tonight.
Okay, so now we get to complain.
Okay, folks. Before we do this, let us reiterate. This game is good. It is fun, and you will have a blast playing it. It is worth $60.
Another thing we need to explain, especially Rich, not as much, but I know I especially, and Rick is pretty bad about it too, we're highly critical.
Extremely high. I
am difficult to please.
we're that way on purpose. Especially when it comes to comic books, movies, and video games. That's our shit.
These things are our life, and you fuck it up. We're gonna let you know.
I mean, yeah, this is what's important to us. So
let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is the story.
And okay, let me start on this one. The story's biggest problem is that it's ass. Okay, if you just play through the story, what you're going to get, and I don't want to spoil it for you because it does have a story.
It's there. It's just lacking.
It's more akin to Dark Souls, where the story itself isn't handed to you.
You have to figure it out.
It's not like Halo. You don't get missions. You don't get
I'm not expecting
cutscenes.
the next KOTOR or anything, but I honestly have no idea what we did.
I don't either. That's the problem. When you go through the story, you can literally piece together random things of Peter Dinklage rambling to you in fake science.
That's all the missions are, is you go to a place, you let out your ghost, he says a bunch of nonsense.
He says stuff, and you shoot bad guys in the face.
As far as the structure of the story, it's like Assassin's Creed 1. Every story is exactly the same. Every mission is the same, where you just... Basically, here's what happens.
Scan this object.
You land on this
shoot
planet.
this
It's like, there's some weird shit going on over here. So you go over there, and Peter Dinklage comes out of your palm. He's like, I'm going to go scan this shit. And he's going to whisper some random whatever to you. Like, yeah, obviously the fucking... Yeah, of course, of course I would think of that. Yeah, this is random data. These terms I don't know and all this. Yeah, excellent. All right, cool. So that means we need to go into the next area where I'm going to do the exact same fucking shit.
Except in a different order.
In a different order.
With a different enemy.
While shit shoots at you.
Mm-hmm.
While shit shoots at you. That's pretty much... That's the thing.
And then you go to the next room, and then you fight the boss. And then they speak more shit, and then you go talk to the students.
To be fair,
you're doing a fine job, whatever you might be doing.
Talking about fighting the boss, not only are the dungeon bosses extremely fun, but quite a few of the missions also have really fun bosses. Like the one where you kill the Winter Kel.
Yeah, that one, you actually feel like you're doing something.
You attack a fallen ship, and you're like kicking the shit out of all of his troops until you get to the bridge of the ship and kill him. And he is the leader of that faction of the Fallen.
Yeah.
And, that is a fun fight. But the game doesn't give you that. It kind of takes away from the enjoyment because it's like, there's a dude. Go shoot him. I'm like, all right, well, what the hell is a Kel? I didn't know what a Kel was until...
That's exactly what I wanted to talk about. Look at Halo's structure, the way things were made. When I played Halo, it's like, oh, that guy's an elite. I know what an elite is.
Yeah.
Okay, I know what a grunt is. I know what a jackal is. And then later on, at the end of the game, they introduce the Flood. It's like, oh, the Flood's this thing.
Oh, shit.
And then, we get the Halo 4. And obviously, you're used to all these other enemies that you've been fighting, the elites and the Flood, because you've had fucking 4 games with them by now.
Yes.
And then you get the Halo 4, and then they introduce, what do they call it?
The Prometheans.
The Prometheans. So it's like, yeah, I'm ready to accept them. Whereas this game, every fucking planet you go to, you fight a new enemy. I'm like, I don't know who I'm fighting. I don't even know who the last guys were yet.
Except for the Fallen, who are on every fucking planet.
Yeah.
Except Mars.
No, they're on Earth. They're the
I
only.
said Mars.
Oh, okay. No, they're on Mars.
Where?
They are.
No. Yeah, they are. There's a small group of them.
Motherfuckers.
Mars
Can
has.
someone right now tell me who all the enemies are?
Fallen, Hive, Cabal, and Vex.
There's 4.
Yes.
I thought there were 3.
There are
It's
4.
because you see the Hive twice. And you never fight them again.
I like, every time we go to a mission, it's like, yeah, I have no idea what we're doing. Especially when you get those patrol missions, and it's like, yeah, go kill this certain enemy. I was like, I don't know what the fuck that is.
You know what? That was the other thing that drove me, that kind of bugged the shit out of me, because there are these 4 different enemy races, each with their own unique soldier types.
Yeah.
And they don't like, the enemies are well designed. Like,
But who cares?
when you run into a phalanx for the first time, you're like, oh fuck, I can't hurt it at all from the front.
Because he has a goddamn shield.
He has a giant shield bigger than Thor's hammer. So it's cool, but there's no background on the Hive.
Exactly.
Like, if you
Why
guys
does it
have
matter
noticed,
why I'm fighting this
have
thing?
you as a Titan, when you punch a Hive in the face, have you noticed when their helmets come off that they look human?
Do they?
Yes.
I have not noticed.
They look human. So it's like, well, why the fuck do they look human? Are they some sort of mutation like the Awoken are? Are they, the game, I mean, you can find that stuff out. Like, I know why. I went and looked it up on the wiki. But if you don't take the time to go look that shit
You
up.
can't expect your player to go do all that.
Well, and as a shooting game like that, a lot of the people are just in it to play competitive multiplayer.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter to them. But
But it's a shooter. They can't do that. I mean, if it was like the Mass Effect world, obviously, yes, I'm going to read the codex and I want to learn
well,
more
yeah,
about them.
that's Mass Effect, and Mass
Exactly.
Effect hands it to you. Okay, the first game in the series has complete biological profiles on every fucking species.
Exactly. Where this is just like, you're fighting these guys. Why?
Space zombies, bitch, with laser grenades.
And what sucks is they do attempt to tell you about it, and it's through those little grimoire
but
cards
then
that
they
you get.
don't.
But you have to leave the game physically, go on the internet
Yeah,
to
you
Bungie.net
can't
and
look at
read
the
about it.
grimoire cards
Yeah.
in the game, which is something that they
And
said
if-
they're going to do.
Yeah, if I was allowed to hit start and go to a fucking thing that lets me read those,
Like,
that'd be great.
If
I'd
it
be
was
fine
in
with
your
it.
inventory, you could be like, I'll click on my grimoire icon and flip through my shit.
Yeah.
This is a little more generalization, but it's another thing I'm really tired of, is Battlefield 4 was a perfect example of this. I'm tired of getting unfinished games.
Yeah, I
If you need to
agree.
push it out to give me a completed game, I will wait.
Which, you know what? That's what they did with Dragon Age. Dragon Age 3 was supposed to come out, like, in 2 weeks, in October 7th. And they pushed it back to November 18th. And I'm like, but I accept it because I know it'll be far better. They've taken, like, 5 years to make this game, whereas Dragon Age 2 sucked balls because they pushed it out.
'Cause I can't
That
help
game
but
was
feel-
ass, by the way, and I don't care if you liked it.
'cause
I played the demo. I thought it was alright.
The demo was cool. And then you play the game, and you're like, I beat force-fed bullshit.
Because I can't help but feel like, I mean, like Rich just said, if we could open up and read those Grimoire cards right there, we might not
It
be
would
having
make
this
sense.
conversation.
Yeah, but you have to go look it up on a different source material. And yes, you have to have internet to play the game, but just because you have internet doesn't mean you have a computer. The actual number of people in the United States that have computers is actually pretty low.
Yeah. Because everyone just uses their phone.
Everybody
That's
does
what
it
they
on their phone, or, and the amount of people that are going to take the time to actually look up what those fucking grimoire cards are,
Exactly.
because they don't tell you that there's information on them. They don't tell
They
you.
just say, "Hey, you got this
They're
thing."
like,
Yeah.
look, it's like achievement
It took
points.
me a while to realize that there was actually like information on that. There was something I had to read, but at this point, I don't want to.
I didn't even know there was shit on them until I ran into them on the Destiny app. Okay.
Okay.
And then I was like, hey, cool. And
All
there's
this lore.
so much lore. Like, it's obvious this world was put together with a ton of care and love. Bungie obviously put a assload of time and money into this game. But it's not done yet.
Exactly.
And that's the problem.
And I would love to learn more about every single one of these species. Like why?
But I want to do it in the goddamn game.
I want them to tell me why.
And I'm known to go out of my way to learn about things I don't need to. I mean,
I do it too.
I've read Obi-Wan Kenobi's entire wiki like 6 times. I didn't need to do that, but I did.
Because you gotta memorize that shit.
I do.
It's important stuff.
I need to know that Obi-Wan Kenobi had a love affair, and he wasn't allowed to do that. But that's just something I do.
And his
But
girlfriend was hot.
She was. But the thing is, like with this game, I don't know why, but I don't feel the want to go do that.
Exactly. Especially at this point when we're all over level 20.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm hoping, because they are saying that the story is going to be expanding itself, not only with the expansions, but they're saying that as time goes on, more content will come out for free.
Okay. As long as it's for free.
They're going to release free content to expand the game, which is going to be nice. So, like the Queen's Rat stuff that's coming out, that includes full missions that take place in the Reef. They have not confirmed whether or not the Reef will remain playable after the event.
Okay.
But we do know that the legendary items and the rare items that are completely unique to that event, there is no other way to get them, will only be available during that event. They also have not stated if that event will happen more than once. I have to think it'll be like an annual thing, kind of like Warcraft with like Children's Day and Hallows Eve with the Headless Horseman. I have to think it'll be an annual thing.
Stuff will just kind of come around.
Yeah, but
once in a while.
But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But they are also talking about adding permanent missions as time goes on.
I'm fine with that.
Which that would be a perfect thing for them to do, especially with how much time and money has gone into this game. If they don't do that, they're going to lose money. They just are. And that's why. And Activision, as much as I hate Activision, especially because I did an internship with Activision. And we worked on Call of Duty Ghosts when I was doing it. And the amount of, they gave us, I was working on the multiplayer maps. They gave us predetermined zones. Like, there were literally boxes and stuff set up to be covered. They said, skin this map. That's how it works. That's why that's why they're all set up the way they are. They're set up that way before the maps are even done. And the company itself is nuts, but they do care about the bottom line. And normally I wouldn't trust that, because especially with the Call of Duty games, because they don't put any time into the story because they know people don't give a shit about the story. And honestly, the one with the best story, the last Call of Duty game with a good story was probably World at War.
That one was really fun. I liked the story for Ghosts, but that's just
I enjoyed the story for Ghost too, but mostly because I had a German Shepherd.
Mainly
I
because
was like, eat his face.
Because puppies.
Puppets.
Press square to bark.
Exactly. But it was, it's with Bungie behind the helm and Activision pushing them to make money, they will produce more content that will enhance the game.
Unfortunately, that'll eventually become stale.
Because
there'll be too much content that nobody cares
It will
about.
eventually become stale.
This
but
game is made to be a trilogy, correct?
It's made to be a franchise.
A franchise.
It's not even a trilogy. It's probably going to be like 20 games.
Okay.
But what they're saying is because they already have the build of the first Destiny already, they can expand on it for the next games.
Right now, I think what the biggest issue, it's not that this game is bad or anything like that, but it's just not living up to its hype.
I think that's the problem, and that's another thing when it comes to Activision. They spent $500 million on marketing and advertising. That's just marketing and advertising.
Oh my God.
That doesn't even cover development costs.
It's ridiculous.
And that right there, they spent $200 million more on advertising than BioWare did on the development of the Old Republic.
Oh my God.
And that was the most expensive game ever made.
Really?
Yes, the Old Republic was officially the most expensive game ever made because it was $300 million.
Wow. That sure flopped.
Yeah, I know. Well, actually,
That's another thing that I want to be so much better than it is.
They've said they made their money back after with the cartel market and stuff.
That's been good for them.
Yeah, that's where I've been spending my money. I don't subscribe, but I do use the cartel market.
I I
Whatever that
did
is.
too. I was
You get to sprint right away.
I do.
I was a
That's
founding
cool.
member. I was a subscriber for like the whole time that you could subscribe. So when I was done, they gave me like 50,000 cartel coins. I was like, holy balls.
All the stuff. Anyway,
Anything else we want to touch on in the story, or we want to
I
move on?
think we've had enough.
I
of
think
that.
we've had enough of the story. I mean,
Then we got the loot
it's-
system and
if you
PvP.
do get involved in the game, take a look at the Grimoire cards. That's my only thing for you guys is the lore of this universe is phenomenal.
Learn as you go, though.
Yeah,
Don't
don't
wait too long.
wait too long.
Otherwise, you're gonna do this. You're gonna start a podcast, and you're gonna bitch.
And then, yeah, exactly. And you guys are going to be like us and be miserable. Well, we're not that miserable. We have some fun.
Oh yeah. What's disappointing is that we're sitting here bitching, but we know the second that we hang up this podcast, we're gonna go play.
Yeah, I gotta drive home for like 45 minutes. But I'm gonna jump on and play some fucking Destiny. And that's the problem. The game is so good that you want to sit there and play the fucking thing, but it's so bad that you want to bitch about it the whole time you're playing it.
What else don't you like, Rick?
Oh,
You don't like the loot system?
Give me the next topic, Rick.
All right, the next
Take
topic,
it away.
and I'm gonna touch this one because I don't think this one's gonna last as long. I was saying earlier that all the classes are extremely well balanced in PvE. When it comes to PvP, player versus player, the hunter has a very clear advantage. So if you're going to play as a PvP only player, you're either going to play a warlock or a hunter.
We do pretty good as Titans.
We do pretty good as Titans, but the fact that their supers regenerate faster than ours,
Do they?
Yes.
yes, they do.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Warlocks
I
have the
vouch-
fastest regenerating super in the game, and that is why Nova Bomb triggers so much.
Okay.
And hunters, both of their supers are geared for PvP.
They really are.
The
They're just instant
gunslinger
kill,
super is
like-
an instant kill, and you get 3 shots. It's not as powerful. See, the problem is you have range, and you can move with Blade Dancer. The weaknesses of the Warlock and the Titan with their supers in PvP is that it is a set zone.
Yeah.
Now in PvE, that doesn't matter as much because enemies tend to bunch together as they swarm you and try to raid you.
Exactly.
They think they're the Zerg for some reason, and that's how they play. They're like, "Mrrr." So you can toss a Nova Bomb and take out 5 guys, or you can be like me and Rich in Summoning Pits and wait for the Knights to spawn and then Fist of Havoc and kill the shit out of the whole group, so you don't have to deal with it later.
Because I can tell you, as a hunter, there's times where I know that there's enemies like, oh yeah, they're taking B, so I activate my super around the corner and then I dash in and I just
and
kill
that's
like
the
4
thing.
people.
You can
And there's
do
nothing they
that.
can do about that.
A Warlock
You
and a
guys don't have
Hunter
that.
have to trigger their ability while they're in view because they have to trigger their ability when they're aiming at their target. And especially for Titans, we have to, if you want to effectively use Fist of Havoc, your ass needs to be sprinting. You need to be a choo-choo train. Otherwise, you're not going to make it to them.
Mhm.
And
with 3 dudes shooting at you,
and
you
with
might
3
not
dudes
make it.
shooting at you, you're not going to make it. And the same thing for Warlocks. The problem for Warlocks is they have to be able to see their target to use Nova Bomb. And they don't have armor like a Titan does. So they're even less likely to survive.
So they gotta poke their squishy ass out of the
So
corner.
they gotta poke their squishy ass out of the corner and then pop, 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 4 hand cannon rounds later and they're dead. But at the same time, I mean, Warlocks get dropped fast, but that's why
Yeah, that's why
they get their
comes back
super
so
so
fast.
damn fast.
Yes.
And Hunters, if their super were slowed down a bit, it wouldn't be as bad.
Mhm.
But the fact that it regenerates that fast, and they have the most powerful super for PvP, and that's the Blade Dancer super.
The Blade
Because-
Dancer, especially because even if, say, you're running backwards from me, by me activating my attack, I pretty much teleport to, halfway to you, and then another one, I'm right there. It's not teleport, but I'm
Yeah.
moving really fucking
You're
fast.
dashing
in
every
the
time you
attack.
slash yourself.
Yeah, and it's pretty significant.
The
I
other,
took down I didn't know I said this plenty of times, but I took down a tank with my Blade Dancer.
I know,
saw a
I
guy
was
hit
there.
him. Yeah, you watched.
I
And
saw.
I was just like, fuck this guy, and I just rushed him with my knife, and I killed him.
It was not, and we're not talking tank like a dude that looked like a tank. We're talking a literal fucking vehicle with a cannon. He knifed it to death. And I was like, what the shit? My rockets don't even do that much damage.
And I mean, we can gripe about the hunter all we want, but every single class has cheap shit.
Every class has cheap shit.
Like the shoulder charge for the Titan. It's
That
just
is
a one-hit kill on anything.
It is super good. The only thing that I think the hunter has the advantage of is their super. Because the Blade Dancer super is capable of getting up to, I think, a total of 10 kills. You have to be lucky to get 10 kills.
There's only 6 people on the other team.
There's only 6 people on the other team, but you have enough.
Time and
if
energy.
they're right next to each other, you have enough time and energy to go through them and then kill them if they respawn nearby as well. Yeah. Whereas the Titan and the Warlock super, if you guys didn't know this, can only kill a maximum of 4 players.
Oh, really?
Because the damage is split among all the targets in the zone.
Oh.
So if you hit 5 people, you can only effectively kill 4 people.
And the other one's health will just drop.
And the other one's health drops significantly. It almost kills them, but they're not dead. So that person, like say you're a warlock and you manage to go, tee-hee, they don't see me. And you Nova Bomb and you kill the shit out of them, but then the hunter turns around and goes, pop, 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 with his pulse rifle, you're still dead. Bungie has said they're going to change that up so that it's not a set amount of damage that spreads evenly. It's a full amount of damage that hits everyone equally.
Okay.
So that it will be an instant kill to everyone. But at the moment, it's a set amount of damage. And it's actually the same thing with the Gunslinger, Golden Gun, and Blade Dancer abilities. But they do so much damage and they're single target abilities that it doesn't matter.
It's just an insta kill.
It's an instant kill.
It's an instant kill no matter what.
But that's why they're changing it for the other classes. Okay. But yeah, each class does have some cheap shit. Like I think honestly, the Warlock has the best grenades.
Yeah, those things they just wreck shit.
Especially the black hole one. That one's stupid. And the Titan shoulder charge is a melee attack that is an instant kill.
Granted, it takes a bit to get going.
It takes I think 3 seconds of
Once
you
start
sprinting,
and then it's only there for 5.
Yeah, it's only active for 5 seconds. But it's badass when you level someone with shoulder charge. And that was one of the other things about the production values is the different animations. Like just shoulder charge, if you jump and then use shoulder charge, you don't use your shoulder, you slam your knee. You're doing some Rampage Jackson shit. You're like, and it looks cool, it feels awesome, especially when you do that stuff.
Yeah, it's fun when the game shifts from first person to third person. You get to see your dude do something awesome.
Yeah, and you get to see that cool stuff.
Yeah, I like that about the Blade Dancer because it's just made the third person. Mm-hmm. It's
really similar to the sword combat, isn't it?
It's exactly the same.
It's the same as the mission where you get to use the Hive sword.
If you could do that in like every fucking mission, the story would be fantastic. Just do that.
I'm still rooting for each class to get a melee weapon super ability.
We'll see.
So could you imagine if Titans got one where they got like a Warhammer? It'd be similar to Blade Dancer. We'd be like,
I never stopped playing at that point, but you can't change the entire game just because a couple people on the internet are like, we want melee weapons.
But to be honest, it wouldn't be changing that much. It would just be giving the Titan and the Warlock a quote-unquote Blade Dancer class. It's true. Is all it would be doing.
Yeah, you know what? You're right.
So,
maybe our kinetic thing will just be a hammer, and I'll be happy.
I would laugh so hard if they just gave the fucking Warlock like a laser sword. I'd be like, that's a goddamn Jedi! All you're doing is just not calling it a Jedi.
I said this last night, that lightsabers, at least they keep you their patent safe.
Those bastards.
And you know what? As much as I bitch and complain about PvP, and it is because I suck at it, you guys. I don't PvP in like anything I do except Mortal Kombat. But otherwise, I don't touch
because you're unstoppable.
Well, that's because I've been playing forever.
I beat you in Injustice once. At GameStop. In the demo display.
And you let everybody know.
Oh, I did. I was proud.
He was very proud. And I was surprised.
And I should. This dude's fucking undefeated in Mortal Kombat for like the past 2 decades.
You got banned from GameStop.
I did. I was so pissed. But I haven't been banned from TNT Games yet, and I work there, so they can't ban me. So there.
Is there anything else you want to bitch about?
Yes. I got one last thing, which would be the loot system.
Yeah, I was going to say we have to talk about the loot system.
I think we're going to wrap up on the loot system. This is the last thing we can talk about. but it's.
I think we should start on Rich with his stupid good loot system.
I've had nothing but good times with my loot system.
Rich has been fine.
I get exotic weapons left and fucking
This
right.
son of a bitch has pulled an exotic hand cannon and an exotic chest piece. And he was lucky enough to pull a legendary helm, which are obscenely expensive in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I bought all my other legendary gear with
He
the
bought them
in-game
all.
currency.
Yeah, because they're only 65 marks, but the helmets are 120 for some ungodly reason.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I got 2 of them.
Yeah, and he's got 2 of them.
Like,
And he got a stupid good exotic chest piece, too.
did.
Well, I bought that too.
Well, yeah, but you bought it, but you got it out of an engram.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
the likelihood of getting it is still low.
Because the engrams are a dice roll. And then I could have either gotten a chest piece for the hunter, the warlock, or the Titan.
Not even just a Titan one, and you got the Titan
That's
one.
happened to me a couple times. I've gotten Titan helmets, I've gotten Warlock helmet.
And that's what pisses me off. I have yet to get a usable legendary item out of a roll. Every legendary item I have ever gotten out of an engram is for a warlock or a hunter. And that is bullshit. They need something to go, something like Diablo, where you keep getting items and they're like, all right, well, you're a barbarian and you just got 3 legendary items that all give you intelligence or dexterity. Now you're guaranteed to get one that gives you strength.
Which is especially weird because, like, each of our instances of the game have different drops.
Yeah,
And yet you can still get something for me.
I know. And I'm like,
And I think that's incredibly stupid. That they would even consider doing that. It's like, here, yeah, oh cool, I got a rare engram. Now I gotta go decrypt it. And like the whole time you're in the game, like for the rest of the mission, it's like, I hope this is something I want.
and now,
And then you get there, it's like, oh, yes, I finally got a legendary helmet for the fucking Titan.
yeah, that was
It's
my
like,
shit.
it's the biggest swift kick in the balls.
I have 3 sets of legendary gloves, Josh. 2 for the warlock and 1 for the hunter. And I'm like,
I mean,
cool.
I've been somewhat fortunate. I have gotten a legendary helmet for myself, a legendary rocket launcher, and a legendary shotgun. But I have gotten plenty of other legendary shit that wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what really...
I still don't
makes me
have a
mad.
legendary weapon. I've got some really good rare guns, but I don't have a single legendary weapon.
And the other thing that's really ticking me off is I have been playing this game for weeks now, and I still need 1 more Ascendant Shard to upgrade my helmet once.
Don't worry, we'll go do some fucking... We'll go do some
Public events.
public events later.
Well, I mean, like last night, you guys were doing your shit, and I ran around the moon for like an hour, and I got 1 public event.
Speaking of which, that's actually another thing I have a problem with. I think when you're doing missions, you should be 1 to 2 players. Like when you're doing a story mission.
Mm-hmm.
When you're doing a dungeon, it should be 3 players. When you're doing raids, like it is, it's 6 players. Like the dungeons are 3 players. But when you're doing fucking patrols, you should be able to do 6 players.
Yeah.
You can do
Absolutely.
a 6-man fire team in the menu and on the tower. But you can the only 2 places you can play with 6 players is PvP or a raid.
On the subject of the fire teams, I really think that they should allow at least a 4th player in, because how many times do we have it where there's like 4 of us online? Like last night, for instance.
I really
So
think
it's
they
like,
should.
yeah, you guys go do your thing. I'll just go do
Sit on
something
the
else.
moon, I
There were
guess.
4 of us, yeah, and you were on the moon doing that. And then the only time the 4 of us were allowed to play together was when we were doing
PvP.
the PvP.
Yeah, we can only do it either in the tower or in the PvP.
I mean, it makes
And
sense that there only be
It
3,
makes sense,
but it's still
I
dumb.
mean, think
But
of a
it's
game,
an awkward number.
Uh-huh.
It makes sense. But
think of a game like Killing Floor. Like, okay, there's 3 of us, no big deal. And if a 4th person comes in, it increases the difficulty. Do that. Make it harder. I don't
it's
care.
like Diablo. It's meant to be
Exactly.
played with 4 players.
Just make it harder. Who cares? Let us play with a 4th person. If it's like recommended to do 3, then whatever. Yeah. I'll
And
do-
it's not even that difficult for them to code something like that. All you have to do is
It
give the
isn't.
enemies a multiplier to their health and damage.
They already do something like that because, if we go back to Earth and we're fighting level 2 enemies, they still stand a chance.
Yeah, they can still kill us, even at levels 25,
So
27.
it can't be that hard to do. Just fix it.
But, I mean, and especially with the damn, because it is an MMO at heart, like I was saying earlier. You look at games where you do dungeons and shit, parties consist of 4 to 5 people and everything else. And in this, it's only 3. It wouldn't have been
And you
that
know what?
difficult for them
I would
to
even
do
have been
it.
more okay with it if they did like the classic Trinity, which they don't. I mean, we don't have a tank, a healer.
Yeah,
and
they
a
don't have
DPS.
tanks. I mean, like, you
We
would
have
say...
3 dudes.
Yeah.
Just go.
Yeah, you have DPS. They're like, what are tanks? What's a healer?
Like, easily, the Warlock
we forgot
could be
tank and healer. We'll come up with Defender and Sunsinger. That's not a healer. That's a battle res. That's one ability.
Yeah, really, they gave us 3 DPS with like one half a tank and one thing
half
that
a
looks
tank
like a healer.
And something that should be a healer but isn't.
Exactly. And that's what bothers me. I mean, if they went in like the Holy Trinity, then I could perfectly understand
The 3.
the 3, and that'd be fine. Because then you know what, like maybe.
But if they had done
would've
that
done
too,
that-
they would have had to give advantages to other characters. Like the Warlock, I think would still be the same. They would have the higher regeneration of their super move.
Yeah.
But you would have to make armor for Titans matter more than it does.
Yeah.
And you would have to make damage for Hunters matter more than it does.
I mean, obviously that's not going to change. This is done. It's a thing.
Yes.
But I just wish they would have done that.
It's something that they should have done.
They definitely should have.
But again, I mean, without it being a first-person shooter game, it's still really fun to do.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even in Borderlands, you kind of had that kind of thing. Like, Rich, you're practically a tank, and I was by all means a healer. Literally, I shot bullets at you and you healed.
Oh yeah,
That's a healer.
that's a healer. You don't have a healing spell. I mean, you're shooting them with your magic healing gun. But yeah, that's how it is. And I mean, the loot
That allowed
system,
4 fucking people. That worked really well.
the loot system itself does have some issues, but gear is extremely well developed.
Yes.
Especially the way when you get higher level gear,
When you get gear and you get what you need, it works really well.
it works super well.
It's fantastic.
And
Getting that shit is
Getting the shit is the worst part. You'll probably spend a week before you get a good item, or you'd be like Rich and get them all in like a day.
You can play like the past 3 days and be stuck at the same fucking level until this morning when I finally just decided, you know what?
You were stuck at 25 for the longest time, and I'm not even sure how you got to 25.
I don't know how I got there.
You, like,
that was like a
jumped there.
miracle. Like, I got all excited, like, cool, look at all these levels I'm getting. And it's like, all right, spend the next week at fucking 25 and fucking suck my dick while you're at it.
And unfortunately, this game is going to have the same downfall as like every other quote-unquote MMO. You're grinding for gear to do what with? To grind for more gear.
Exactly. At the moment, we do.
We just kind of ignore that.
That's
But that's the best part. That's the part that gets addictive. When you're playing the game, and I was about to get to the point where I was like, all right, I'm not going to play it every day anymore.
Mhm.
But then I got the exotic bounty. So I want my exotic hand cannon. Because you're like, right there is the potential for a weapon that not many people have.
Yes.
You're like, it's a super powered weapon. It's something that I can customize to be what I want it to be. But I have to do all this shit to get to it. And
Which is fine.
right,
I mean,
which is fine. I mean,
for what
it
it
should
is.
be like that because it's a very powerful item. But that's actually another complaint I have.
You know what?
Because that gear is what pulls you in, and you can't get it if you only want to play one type of the game.
What I don't... Here's what I don't
because you're
like.
being forced to do
Because
PvE
you are
and
forced
PvP.
to do PvP and PvP or PvE in order to get the exotic bounties completed. You can't just do one.
One of the things that bothers me about the game is I don't mind working hard for a good piece of loot. What I do mind is working hard to not be sure I'm going to get it.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, that's. I mean, and this is exactly like that picture you sent us, where you look at Diablo. Diablo is you are eventually guaranteed to get legendary items. You will find them. If you don't find them during a certain amount of time, there is a hidden meter that builds up, and when it fills up, you will get a legendary item. And at this point, with Reaper of Souls, the way it is, you will get one for your class. You will get one that you can use. In Borderlands, the guns are randomized, but
you're constantly getting
But you're
stuff.
constantly getting shit all the time.
And you know what else? Think of it this way. What do we have a fucking ton of in this game? Glimmer.
Money.
We got way too
And there's
much
nothing
money.
to do with
There's
it.
nothing to do with it. In Borderlands, they have the perfect fucking system. You don't want to go out and do shit? Spend all your fucking money at the slot machines. Here, have cool stuff. Thanks.
random cool shit. You know, and
You know
especially
that iridium that you can't use anymore? Fucking gamble that. Thanks.
especially when I got the damn I got the vault symbol. I've only done it once. I got the vault symbol jackpot, and I got 2 pearlescent guns.
Holy shit.
It feels great when you get them.
And you're like, yeah, fuck yeah. But, you know, it's like, I don't know. It just, the game is so much fun.
It's so much fun. It's so close to being perfect. In fact, I said this to you, right? Where this game it's too human, but people bought it.
Yep.
It is. It's too human, but people bought it, and it didn't spend 13 years in development.
Like 2 Human.
And to be fair, I enjoyed 2 Human.
I enjoyed it, but like I said,
But it wasn't
people
done.
didn't buy it, and it wasn't done. Yeah. Because really, it's exactly the same. There's that central tower hub that everyone goes to. You get to go see everyone's shit.
And you can customize your armor, and you customize your colors and everything, and it's fun. It's very enjoyable.
You
The game
go
is
out, you
very
have
well
4
done.
areas to choose from where you can go do your shit.
Yeah, and you know, it is.
You have to go through the same areas every time.
Exactly. There's no extra missions.
I know. It's like,
It's like
Damn
Payday.
yeah, it's like Payday. Hey, God damn it.
I have way too many hours in Payday. I don't even know how I played that much.
That's
You
for-
don't
that's
even
for
talk to
another
me about
day. That's
hours.
for another day.
I've got like 6,000 hours on my paladin alone in WoW, so I don't want to hear it.
God.
It's like Lucas and CS. Poor bastard. Alright, do we have anything else we want to touch on before we wrap this thing up?
I think we're good.
I think we're just about good, but I wanted to just reiterate because we have been ripping on it.
Yeah,
The
I
game
want to say
is fun.
the game is fun. If you have people to play with, it's absolutely fun. It's a phenomenal experience.
It's hysterical.
It is. And I've had plenty of fun experiences with it. Like I said, we're ripping on it, but the second we're done with this, I'm going to Taco Bell and we're going to play more.
Yeah, we're going to play probably all night.
Yeah.
Probably late into the morning.
Most likely. When the sun comes up is when I'll realize maybe I should go to bed. And then I'll play more.
and then I'll play more. I got to do shit in the morning, but I'm still probably going to play all night long.
Exactly. I mean, it's a fun game. It's worth the $60. Just be glad you didn't do what me or Rick did and buy like a special edition or anything. Don't do that.
Yeah.
I did it for Halo 2. And
Although
I
the
regret
special
it.
edition is kind of cool.
It is cool.
You do get cool stuff.
You get cool stuff.
But,
I wish they had more lore in it.
you know,
Oh,
if
that book,
it came with like a codex to be
that
like,
book tells me about the guns. I don't need to know about the guns. I need to know about the fucking things I'm fighting.
I know, I need to know about the aliens.
But I'm not getting back into this. We're done. Anything else anyone wants to say?
I'm good.
So,
It's
final,
enjoyable.
final verdict. The things we talked about today. 1, Super Smash Brothers. Super excited for it. I'll probably be to midnight if they have it. Awesome. Can't wait. Controls feel great. I'm really excited. Deadpool. High hopes. Probably going to suck. But
We're
I
gonna,
got
see,
high
we're gonna watch
hopes.
it anyway.
High hopes.
We're gonna see it
Might
anyway.
suck. Might be the best superhero movie ever made.
Maybe. If they do it right.
If they do it properly.
If it's rated R, they got a chance.
But it has to be rated
has
R.
to be
But then
rated R.
again, they may not fuck it up because Punisher was rated R. The original Punisher with Tom Jane.
That's true.
That was a phenomenal fucking movie.
True. And then finally, Destiny. It's a great game. Go out and get it.
Lots of good, lots of bad.
What would
Lots of
you
good, lots
guys?
of bad.
What would you guys give it out of 10?
Out of 10,
7.5.
I was just gonna say 7.5.
I'm right around there too. I was
Okay.
gonna say somewhere around 7.
7.5 out of 10.
You know,
It's a good game. It's got things that need to work out, but
when the expansions come out, hopefully we can come back and give it a higher score.
and like Rick has said a couple times, they're aware of these issues. They're working on it. They're trying to fix it. They're trying to make
That's
it better.
one of the things about Bungie. Bungie's
Bungie
like
listens.
BioWare and Blizzard. They pay attention when their
They pay
fans have a
attention. That's
problem.
great. So I recommend it. Go out there, buy it. Find 2 friends to go play with. Don't have a 4th friend you have to leave out all the time. Who's fourth
If you
friend.
have a 4th friend, just remove him from your friend list and tell him that your console broke.
And then whenever your other guy can't come on, tell him that your console is mysteriously working for some reason.
The rendering went away. I don't
Tell him you're
crazy.
Tell him you're playing on your hacked Xbox/PlayStation, the other one, the one that you're not normally playing on. Be like, I hacked this one so I can kind of play here, but I might get removed for long periods of time randomly. Just lie to him. It's okay.
It's a weird
All right.
situation. All right.
But-
anyway, guys, thanks for listening.
Join us hopefully next time.
Join us hopefully next time.
Next
This
time.
ran a little longer than we expected, but it's our first one. We're still working out the bugs. I hope you enjoyed listening to us. If you haven't already, please press that big red subscribe button. We look forward to giving you a lot more content. And you know what? If there's anything else you'd like us to discuss for our next topic or just something we didn't cover enough, please let us know in the comments below. We look forward to hearing from you. But anyway, in the meantime, I'm Josh.
I'm Rick.
I'm Rich.
And thank you for joining us. See you next time.
Double dicks.